Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another Lockout special, our Supercoach show that we do every week. We try to anyway. This is the first time in the last couple of weeks that we unfortunately had to drop the show due to a couple other things. But brother, how's your Supercoach team going? Especially after Magic Round. We spoke a lot about Magic Round last night. The Magic Round didn't just happen on the field. Hopefully it happened in your Supercoach team as well. How'd you go over the weekend, brother?
Uptick in overall, so that's a positive. As long as you're seeing a green arrow for the overall this week, that's a positive. I know there's some massive scores out there, but don't get too much FOMO unless you didn't go up in green, then I'd be a little concerned.
Sorry, yeah, I was going to say, I was like, so your boy over here not going up in green. Overall score of like 1,443, and I went down in spots. I was like, thinking, oh, my team did all right over the weekend. Then I'm seeing like monster scores of 1,700s, and I'm like, oh, I'm gone.
Never mind.
So, oh, man. Shout out to Robert. Thank you so much for jumping in, brother. I don't know. There we go. The chat feature is working now. I was going to say OBS almost fucking me over in that little period there. But thank you so much, guys. Obviously, guys, this is a live stream. As I always preface before the show, feel free to jump into the chat. We've got a solid 45 minutes tonight. There's not too much to talk about. Obviously, we can talk about a little bit of our origin period buy plans, stuff like that. Brodie's done a really good little breakdown. We spoke about that a little bit last week in our Down Under show. But also, yeah, chuck in the chat any queries that you have, any questions, and then we'll obviously discuss it during the night and that. But we'll give you updates on how our sides are going, our trades for this weekend, our captains, and our reserves for the weekend as well. But are you ready to go, my bro?
Ready to go, brother.
All right, my man. Thank you so much, Tahi, as always, for jumping in. And Nick Hill, what's happening, bro? Horse out now. Yeah, we've been waiting for that news for freaking ever, bro. Hey, every time I saw you at work, I was like, is Horsburgh out yet? Is Horsburgh out yet? You're just like, brother, honestly, I have no clue.
No, it finally got released. So I think Canberra were definitely trying to fight that one hard. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of people probably selling Horsburgh this week due to Origin also coming up now as well.
Yeah, 100%. Robert, over here, I went down to Ash Ponga.
Like he went down in
as
rankings.
well. Yeah. I was going to say, I was like, yo, Ponga got me 122 points. I got 1,088 in Magic Round.
You need to maybe look at the rest of your boys, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's going on there? Tans, what's happening, Tans? I hope you had a great weekend, the last weekend with the Supercoach as well. But we may as well jump over. We'll quickly jump over to the players of the last round. So moving over to our round 9. Sitting up top there, your boy Jacob Carraz, brother. Did you end up getting Jacob Carraz in?
Yeah, buddy, I've had him for a couple of weeks now, and this is why.
Exactly. Sitting up there, 152 against the Gold Coast Titans over the weekend. Such a big kick threat in the corner. He's getting all those, his base stats incredible at the top, at the start, but then being a kick threat in the air, scoring tries, just absolutely incredible score from him.
Freak. Absolute freak.
Robert Toyer, 148. James Tedesco, 130. Nathan Cleary, 129. Fletcher Sharp. A lot of people trading in Fletcher Sharp this weekend, bro. 128. He's definitely a name on a lot of people's tongues. I think we'll talk about him a little bit more later. Scotty Drinkwater, 127. Luke Metcalf, 120 or 119. Connor Tracy, 118. Nico Hines, 117. Great to see both our halfbacks getting up there, 129 and 117. We've been waiting for this for a long time. And lastly...
100%.
And lastly, Thomas Jenkins with 117 there. Also, Stephen Crichton, shout out to you. 111, getting his score up there quite easily because of the goal kicking he has as well. And that's something that we kind of maybe missed a little bit.
Yeah, and Carraz on his outside. So, yeah, he's a lot of hundreds scored this week. Funny story, actually. My trades last week, and we'll go through them as well. I traded in Kalen Ponga, and I VC'd James Tedesco over the weekend. And... he went for what he went for, which was 130. And I was like, I'm not passing up on that. I've got to somehow find a vice captain loop. The only guy I had not playing was Thomas Kant, and I was hesitant to put him in as my captain because he was 18th man for the Knights. Knowing my luck, somebody would have got head knocked and a Simbin would have happened, and then Thomas Kant would have got activated and ruined me. So what I actually did was I sacrificed a trade there, and I traded Kalen Ponga out for Scott Drinkwater.
Yep.
And I traded in a guy that will never play. That's just a dual fronty second rower, just so I could have somebody for that vice captain loop. And the whole time watching the Knights and Rabbits game,
the death stares.
It was Ash's advice to be like, oh yeah, go without Ponga. And I was looking at Ash the whole time watching that game going, fuck you, Ash. Like, Ponga was on fire. And then I was like, you better hope that Drinkwater gets more than Ponga. And sure enough, throughout the game, the smile slowly came back to Ash's face. Even though the Wilds were playing Drinkwater, he was so happy that was a good performance there. So there was a funny story out of Magic Round, actually. But Ash got off lucky there because I was about to kill him.
Bro, and shout out to, like, you know, it got to a point in that Warriors game where I turned to Brody and I was like, all right, you've got your points now. Can you just stop? Like, can Scotty Drinkwater please stop with all this? Because my heart cannot take it anymore. But so glad that worked out because, yeah, it definitely was a risky little move that you had going on there. But it worked for the benefit of your team. You went up in green lights over the weekend. You green arrows upwards. And you're competing with all the competitions that we have at the moment with the Down Unders League as well, guys. Jumping over to Down Under, shout out to Eliminator. We've been speaking about him week in, week out, me and Brody personally. Like, crazy week. 1,600 that he scored over the weekend. Serena Steve, shout out to you. Just been absolutely killing it as well and moving up our ranks for second in the league.
Very quickly.
So quickly. Look at the players that he's got here. Luke Metcalf, he still had Luke Metcalf. You know, we jumped off Lukey at that period. We kind of wish we maybe stuck on him, but and good to see him just doing great things. Fletcher Sharp over the weekend did wonders for him.
Just
and
imagine if he vice
players
captain looped here, bro. He would have vice captain looped and got another 90 points. He would have been in 1,700 points.
That's crazy. That is so
5 for him really as his captain. That's a shame.
Bro, Steve, shout out. I want to know your over.
Hey, go into his team. He had another guy that scored 100 that he didn't play.
Thomas Jenkins.
Well, I don't blame him for not playing him, but like that's another 100. Like, how many dudes did he have that went for 100 plus?
Hamish Stewart to 79 as well. My God.
Good week. It was a magic week.
Steve, you're in the chat. Let us know your overall score. I can't see it right now, but I'm sure it's something like hectic. Like, I'm sure it is. Same
overall ranking, you mean, or score?
Yeah, overall ranking. Sorry, yeah. And shout out with Liam as well. I want to know your overall ranking. Liam, if you're in the chat, jump in. Let us know your overall ranking this season because both of you guys are killing our league. Shout out to Nate as well. Val Helmet getting 1,600, 665. Who had the biggest score of the weekend? Unfortunately, it won't let me drop down, but looking at all these other ones here, 14, 1,700 from Bradley. Big balls.
Jesus. He must have made some good trades because he hasn't been going too well this season, but that scoreline.
He captained Terrell May.
What do you mean? Oh, Dylan Egan, though. Fletch Sharp, Hines, Metcalf. Carraz, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm seeing it.
Cleary.
Even had Toyer on his bench.
I only got like 1,500, and I had most of those guys. I had some duds. I had like a Billy Smith and stuff as well. We got Sandon Smith who got 0. Like...
Shout out to Sandon. He definitely ruined. No, he didn't really ruin my weekend too much. Over like it ended up being my loot player or whatever.
Yeah, dropping out.
So it ended up working out for me. But moving over to our teams here, bro. I'll go through my rank at the moment. As I said, I went down rank, so I'm at 1,300. I think last week I was at the 11,000. Sorry, 13,000, 11,000. Get my numbers mixed up here, but yeah, did end up going down unfortunately with the scores that I have. Currently, my trade. So me and Brody were talking about this. So sorry that we're a little bit late jumping on, guys. Me and Brody were talking about this. I needed some reflection of some trades that I'm doing, and there will be even more reflection after this. But I got Dylan Lucas in for Jackson Purdue. I think Dylan Lucas is this week for me. I was doing whatever I can to try and get him in without taking apart my squad. I think the best way I could do this is a guy that, you know, I'm so high on Jackson Purdue. I love his game, but I kind of, as I said to Brody, you know, his last 2 scores, as we see here, after his 100, so that's jumped out of his average. He went 64 and 46. His break-even's at 99 at the moment, and he's coming up against the Penrith Panthers. So, you know, he goes Penrith, Manly, then a bye. like I kind of want to have some little bit of coverage there. And with the way that Dylan Luke is playing at the moment, where he's basing around, like he can consistently look at, he's going to get over that 60 score. I think I feel more safer with him at the moment, and I don't lose the cash of Jackson Purdue with the coming weeks.
Yeah, 100%. He's, Purdue's starting to get up there for your premium type center wing. So you don't really want to hold him too much longer at this stage until he starts producing consecutive hundreds. You know what I mean? Like at 638, you definitely should be looking to trade him out for someone a bit cheaper or somebody that's going to be a bit more consistent on those 80 pluses.
Yeah, 100%. So that's what I've got at the moment. But I have got a guy that we will be touching on very shortly of who I'm looking at trading out for the period. But jumping through my team for this week, my fullbacks, as you guys know, we got Ryan Papenhuyzen, Kalen Ponga, who went really well for me last week, a last week trade-in that I had, Kalen Ponga and Scotty Drinkwater. A great week from him last week. Hopefully we get another one of this again. I've got the vice captaincy on Kalen Ponga this week going up against the Gold Coast Titans. He plays first. And I've got the captaincy on Ryan Papenhuyzen playing the Tigers, dry track Melbourne Sunday afternoon. That's just like all bells are raised for Ryan Papenhuyzen to have a 100 game.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, brother. That's probably one of the safest options this week, in all honesty, other than playing it safe with Terrell May, Payne Haas. But 100 wise, I think Pappy's a favourite to get 100 this weekend, still with goal kicking duties as well.
Yep, 100%. Before we continue to jump over to Robert over here with a question in the chat. Question: if New South Wales choose Moses or Cleary as a halfback, do you slot Hines in or Reynolds to the team? We both have Hines right now, so we're obviously going to be playing with Hines over the Origin period.
Yeah.
Would you be looking at getting another gun to pair up with Nico Hines over the bye period, or would you just stick Nathan Cleary, stick out with him?
Good question, but there's no point running Adam Reynolds because the Broncos miss round 12 and round 15, which is two of the major bye weeks, and then in round 18, the Sharks miss. So the Sharks only have one bye through this 6-game period. Oh, sorry. They have round 18, which is a major bye period, and round 13, which is only a minimum bye period where Origin players can back up. So Hines would probably be your best for coverage. Whereas, Adam Reynolds is not going to give you any coverage because he misses the exact same games that Cleary and Moses will miss in round 12 and 15.
Bro, you should have seen this boys working out, guys. Brody's got his whole spreadsheet and all that worked out. He messaged me and I was like, what is this? Look at that. That is hard work, guys. That is notes right there. That's what we'd be doing. But shout out to you, Robert. Hopefully that helps at all. Me and Brody probably both on the same track here. Run Nico Hines throughout this Origin period and keep Nathan Cleary till after the Origin period, or if they back up. Because the period where the Panthers are in right now, obviously if there's injuries, they might change this a little bit, but they want to get wins. So these guys will probably bounce back after Origin and play straight after. I think the only one that Nathan probably won't be playing is he's got the Warriors after the Perth Origin game, which I think is game 2. And I think that's a quick turnaround as well, because I think that's the Friday night or the Thursday night game. I think it's Friday. Okay. So I don't know if he'll be on the plane straight away, but who knows?
Either way, remember, on those major bye periods, it is only your best 13. It doesn't need to be, you could have no halves, no fullbacks, and you're just running all centers, reserves. It doesn't matter. Like whatever 17 you select, as long as 18 you select, as long as you have 13 guys playing, it's the best scores you'll get out of those 18.
Yeah, exactly right, Bella. Moving back over to my centre and wing. So right now I've got Herbie Farnworth, Valentine Holmes, Dylan Lucas, my new trade-in this week, and Greggy Marzu. Obviously, I've got 2 Newcastle Knights here. Newcastle got a favourable matchup this weekend against the Gold Coast Titans that have a lot of media scrutiny around them right now. A lot of talk around the disharmony in the camp due to Dave Fafita, all that sort of stuff. Now Dave Fafita is apparently out for the next 3 to 4 weeks with getting an ankle surgery or something like that. So no clue what's going on there. But, hopefully Newcastle can continue their form from what they showed last week against the understrength Rabbitohs on a Gold Coast Titans team that just get Jaden Campbell back as well.
Yeah, the Knights have a really nice draw, but once their nice draw's done, are you a little worried holding these three Knights players? I know that they all kind of go hand in hand with their scoring, but even when the Knights don't go too well, Marju still, he's got his run meters, his tackle breaks that he's still basing pretty well. Dylan Lucas is much the same. So if you were to trade out one of these guys, who's it going to be?
Probably KP. I'd be looking at KP. Around these periods, my end goal would have been a Latrell Mitchell, Tommy Turbo, or maybe even James Tedesco now this year in Supercoach. So if there's a period where I can end up trying to make that trade of KP up to those guys, or if they get to a period where I can just sideways trade to them, I think KP for me out of all those boys is more than likely the one for me to trade out, because his game... He's basing okay for fullback, but his game obviously revolves around try assists, tries, and this year it just hasn't been that great for that. Lucas and Greg Marju, as you said before, they base so well, so I feel a bit more confident having those guys on the side there.
100%, and you're hoping that Ponga gets to about that 700k mark before Origin 1, and then maybe trade him out before Origin starts, or you're going to hold him through that period? Not too sure.
Yeah, not too sure at the moment. I definitely would be hoping and praying that he gets to at least like 650 or something like that to make it a little bit easier to make those trades. But all the options, he's at 550 at the moment.
Okay, never mind. He's not getting to 700 before Origin. I thought it was 6. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be a big jump. But like for me, overall with KP, all the guys I'll be looking at are in around Origin as well. So like I think that those guys, depending on Tommy Turbo, depending on Latrell, how their scores work out, because I think what's Latrell at the moment, price wise?
He's like 5. Oh no, I think he dropped to 630 ish.
Yeah, 650.
Yeah.
So depending on
Turbo's down there as well.
Yeah, I'll check Turbo. So these are my like run home sort of fuck.
You can't.
He wouldn't be put over
Turbo, brother. Stitch up.
Ash for egg of the week, bro.
Oh, 715 still.
715. So he still will be in time dropping cash, which he should be doing this weekend anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much my thinking overall with that. But fuck me, Tommy Turbo to search bar.
Love it.
Jumping over to the chat again. Jose with a question from the missus. Shout out to Jose's missus. Hope she's killing Supercoach as well, just like you, Jose. Mitchell Moses or Jamie Humphries is the question here.
For me, Mitch Moses points scoring wise, but Jamie Humphries through Origin and value, money value, 100%. But Mitch Moses is also still at a pretty decent price for the ability that Moses is at. And what Moses will score for you, because he hasn't even picked up goal kicking duties yet, and he's had a couple of good weeks. But yeah, depends what you're after.
I don't think he is going to get that goal kicking duty back when obviously Zach Lomax is getting really close to coming back as well. So also Origin period, more than likely he's going to be the 6 for Origin. Jamie Humphries should be around abouts where, 7, 9, wherever they need to place him for the Rabbitohs. I think at this week he's in 7, and he's got goal kicking more than likely as well. Actually, Latrell have goal kicking this week, wouldn't he?
Latrell probably would, yes. And then as for, the bye periods, Rabbits missed the first major bye, the Eels play. Even though Moses will be probably in Origin anyway. And then for the second and the third major bye periods, the Eels are on the bye, which Moses is in Origin anyway, but the Rabbits play.
Yep.
So depends what you kind of, if you're looking to hold, like if it's like end game for you, Mitch Moses. But if you're looking for Origin cover, probably Jamie Humphries.
Yeah. I'm on that exact same train. And even if you're looking at that, I think there's other options out there as well that you could be looking at too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. If you've got Mitch Moses money, I would probably be looking at somebody else that has even better of a draw period, like a Nico Hines or something like that. But
if she doesn't have Nico Hines, I think Hines would be, Moses averaging 81 with 64 in that average of last week. Cleary, Renault, injury sometime, I guess. Daly Cherubin's been...
Isaiah Katoa is a good one.
Yeah. We had spoke a little bit about him earlier this year. Jerome Hughes, weight off on him, but there will become a point where he looks like a trade-in around this period as well.
What's he sitting at? 6 what?
607.
That is nice.
Yep, 51 points. I think he's carrying an injury though at the moment. So from the weekend, I think he fractured his hand again.
Maybe not then.
Just wait and see though. I don't know how concrete that was from me, but I'm sure I saw something over the weekend that he re-injured himself. But I think that's the best way to go.
You could go a very good cheapie in the Tonga for the Dragons.
Yes, I do see a lot of people jumping on Tonga. The only thing that worries me is like I know Ilias and Fleno haven't got along there, but when does Ilias get himself back into that jersey?
He's a 5'8" option anyway, actually.
Oh, yep.
So never mind. But yeah, I agree. So depends what you're after, brother.
Yeah, so for us, if you're going to be looking down that track, especially around Origin period, maybe Isaiah Katoa. Who else did we just point out? Nico Hines. Go down that sort of track before, if you're going for end game, as Brody said before, if you want to jump on earlier, Mitchell Moses, feel free. But, over this period, maybe look at some and Jerome Hughes when he gets fit and healthy.
100%.
Moving over to the halves this week, I got Cam Munster, Adam Dewey. Haven't got the reserve on Dewey this week. My reserves, I got Scotty Drinkwater, Isaac Tungo, Nathan Cleary, and Adam Fanua-Blake. Those are the way I'm looking at it. Obviously, a lot of these other guys that I have either not playing or, for me, these guys are higher scorers. So that's why I went that way.
What's your thoughts on Cam Munster, brother? Like, he hasn't really fired this year, has he? And now we've got Origin as well. So, and he's probably not going to get backed up after Origin either, with Wishart there to cover.
Yeah, he had a couple of nice ones here with like a 99, 93. But other than that, he's just been holding 50s, 60s. And to be fair, 5'8", other than I think what your man, Lockie Galvin's probably leading the way for 5'8" averages this season, right?
Not too sure.
Yep, Lockie Galvin's up there. Actually, it's King Tonga, obviously, with a one score of 83. Yeah. Jaden Campbell, and then third is Cam Munster. So, for that position,
no better options anyway.
Yeah, it's been okay. But I agree with you. Like when I bought him, I was expecting him to be kind of not leagues above everyone else, but he was going to be that real point of difference. But if you did go away from Cam Munster, you probably end up winning at the end of the day right now.
Yeah, well, not really, because you just proved it. Like, it depends. If you got a good cheapie out there that's doing the same as him, maybe. But yeah, right now, it's probably his third best, you said. So what are you supposed to do? Yeah.
But third best. Oh, yeah, because he did end up running cheap in preseason too. So it wasn't that big of an offset. I think Dylan Brown was the most expensive, and he's kind of fizzled down the pecking order a little bit there.
Yeah, no, nice.
Nico Hines playing this week. Nathan Cleary, as I said, in the reserves. Tino, Holokawatu, and Kikau. Kikau was a trade out for me this week, but I'm going to be holding, as you've discussed. The Dogs have an amazing bye period, right?
Yeah, they have a really good bye period. Presto's now out for 4 weeks, so we should be left side dominant in attack. And Kikau's now 3 games back, so his match fitness should be up nice and high. Birdo's back this week as well, so all is pointing for me for Kikau to start hitting the straps now with some good, consistent performances. And
one thing I didn't discuss with you last night, but what kind of sways me to thinking that the Dogs are going to have a nice game at GIO at Canberra this week is if Burton's able to get under that Birdo boot, continue to put the balls up, we have seen the Canberra back three struggle with high ball. Okay. So you can end up getting a lot of errors that way. And when you're in a try scoring positions, you run that shape of obviously Kikau running that out the back of the sensor shape where he has that little tip on. We could see some good points in that sort of edge as well.
I'm hoping, brother. I'm hoping.
We're praying, bro, especially for Supercoach here. Front row, Payne Haas, Terrell May, Adam Fanua-Blake. And with the hookers, none of my hookers are playing this week. I'm just going to bite the bullet on it. I made the decision on Harry Grant to start season. It's bit me in the ass, maybe a little bit last couple of, even though Sanders Smith did gangbusters a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. But other than that, it hasn't really done wonders for me this season. So this is what you risk it for, but hopefully he can have a week back before Origin, if that, and we'll wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think it's smart to leave it for now, brother.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to be my long-term play anyway. I'm just going to save the trade there. And hooker's not really a high value, high scoring position.
Not at this point, brother. Not at this point.
Jose with another amazing question in the chat. Question. I'll jump over to Joe screen here. Pete Mamizulis 2. Riley Smith. So Riley Smith for the Eels. Blake Rayleigh for the Sharkies. Even saw an argument for Jazz Tavanga. Your guys' thoughts?
Who's your other hooker, brother?
Yeah, I'd say Sandon Smith for him this week.
Yeah, I wouldn't. If it's Sandon Smith, brother, don't stress the trade like Ash. I don't reckon. Like hookers aren't really firing anyway. In all honesty, like they're not really getting more than 60. And I'm pretty sure Api Coruscant is a very nice cheap price at the moment. If you wanted somebody that has the ability to go for hundreds, it's Api Coruscant. I know he's not playing 80 at the moment either, but he's a guy that, well, none of those guys right there that you named are playing 80 other than Brayley, but he's only still getting like 40s. So, yeah, hookers aren't really delivering much at this stage.
If he's got the money for Brayley, if you got the money for Brayley, do you have the extra little bit of Bicky, Cam McGuinness?
Actually, that's a great shout.
At the moment, scoring very, very well. I'll jump back over to this screen here. Not trade out for what we got here. So his averages this season have been sitting around that 60 average. You know, he's at the top of the hooker leaderboard this year in scoring. He's just going to consistently get over 50s for you, and you're not going to have to worry about anything there. So, actually, he's not the biggest average, but he's the biggest total point scorer. So, he's an option. Wade Egan, maybe, but there's always that risk with Wade Egan of a mid-game knock, and we see Sam Healy now getting carried on the bench, so that's a worry. I think Cam McGuinness might be your shout.
Cam McInnes, Connor Watson, but Watson's on the bye and Origin. Max Plaff is injured and potentially Origin. Jeremy Marshall-King's injured. Tom Starling's hit and miss because he's obviously got the bench hooker behind him as well. Robson is Origin. Little, same thing. Api Coruscant if you wanted to save some coin. Other than that, yeah, I like the McInnes shout. You know, you're getting a premium lock that scores well, but putting him at hooker.
Keep an eye out on Jake Simpkin as well. Now that, so the way everything's kind of gone, Jazz might end up being a hooker cover again when Jake Trbojevic comes back.
Which is back this week.
Which is back this week. But keep an eye out on the minutes of Jake Simpkin, how much he gets through, because when he's getting through decent minutes, he scores okay. Like the 79 against the Penrith Panthers, played a really good game. Then obviously they had the bye last week, so we weren't able to see him back on that. But if he gets in that 50 to 60 minute mark and plays pretty well, he's at 379 if you want to go that sort of way. There is risk still there though.
100%. Yeah, definitely a big risk there. Mitch Kenny's a nice price for the Panthers. But yeah, it's tough, man. Like the hookers roles right now aren't the best.
No. Riley Smith with a 50 over the weekend. Jazz Tavanga, as you said, there has been arguments for Jazzy. I think he had a mad 63. Honestly, I think if you want to go to safest play, Cam McGuinness. If you want to go a cheapie just to cash out,
probably Jazzy.
Yeah, probably go Jazzy or Jake Simpkin.
Yeah,
I think that's probably the best shout.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, my bro. Thank you so much, Jose. Let us know if that helps. And let us know, we'll see next week how you went, because you are one of our best scorers and stuff. Guys, also, continue chucking in the chat any questions and stuff. I'm just going to load up Brodie's team. And then we will hit the road after that with a couple of discussions over trades. So just going to load it up. Max Miller. Should I get Sharp or Karaz? Brodie's big on Karaz.
100% Karaz.
I will go Karaz as well. I think that Karaz has the high upside, but also has the beautiful base where you want to be. Fletcher Sharp, amazing game of the weekend. Showed that he has got that high upside. But if I would jump over and see the players, I'm pretty sure that he also has that low end of like a 30 and stuff that he can chuck in there too, which can kind of screw you on your day.
Yeah. Prime example for me is, Fletcher Sharp scored 3 tries on the weekend. Karaz scored 3 tries on the weekend. Karaz got 152. Sharp got 120. So it just shows the difference there in base stats as well.
And jumping over to the web here, Max Miller just showing he has got his lows of 43, which isn't too bad, right? For a player you're getting for 641.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at Jacob Karaz, just jumping over.
He had a low game in that Brisbane game, though.
Yeah.
So this is the yeah. But he has just come back from injury, so.
And his lowest at the moment is at 53, but that's all just base and just power running, 84, very similar. And he's got that, high end there too. So I agree. And with the bye cover as well, I think do the doggies have a better bye cover than the Knights over the Origin period?
I think it's roughly the same, in all honesty.
Yep. But that's what we think there, Max. Hopefully that helps. We both got Jacob Carraz over Fletcher Sharp, but it all works with money as well, right? Like money-wise, if you can only afford Sharp, then go Sharp.
Yeah, but if you can afford Sharp, I would probably go Lucas as well. But that's just my biased opinion. Yeah. Again, because you don't have that lower floor, obviously Lucas has got a really good base as well. Yeah. All right. Brodie's team for the weekend. Scotty Drinkwater. Hey, wink, wink. Did a good job there. Hey, 127. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah, well, I think he was a big part of my overall score last week, which was 15.
1539.
So, yeah, a little uptick. Yeah, he killed it. Put it that way. And now he's in the 800s as well. So, he gained a nice little 70K for me.
You love to see it. James Tedesco as well. You got two boys up there in that 800s. Unreal.
Yeah, I knew bringing Teddy in last week was, in some people's eyes, pointless because the bye this week, but he's really good through the bye period. He doesn't miss any of the major buys, so he's just going to be a set and forget captain option, and his scores have just been incredible. So, well worth it because now he's pretty much untouchable for people unless you, really do sacrifice another big name to get a cheapie and then sacrifice another big name to get him. Like, he's pretty unreachable. But yeah,
exactly.
Pappenhausen, set and forget captain this weekend for me, unless my vice captain goes hard.
Vice captain is sitting up top there, Payne Haas. I actually discussed this, Levon. If you're in the chat, my bro, I discussed this on the WhatsApp chat on the Wise Up TV WhatsApp. He was asking for captain's options. I was like, there's a couple of ways you can go about this. This is one of those ways. So Payne Haas is a vice captain because we know that he's going to probably hit around that 87 at a low end, but he could go for a 130 out of nowhere that you kind of be like, all right, I'll just go that way. Where would you start to look at your loop option? What score are you looking at for Payne Haas to even consider that?
100. If he gets 100 this week, I will easily loop out Brayley for Sanders Smith and chuck a captaincy on, because it all depends on like games as well, like on when guys are playing, when you've got somebody that you can switch out and stuff like that. Like that's what I struggled with last week, but this week that's my game plan. Is if Haas gets anywhere 100 or over, easy vice captain loop. I'm not even going to risk it on Pappenhausen.
Yeah, 100%. Moving over to center wings, Jacob Carraz, Herbie Farworth, Dylan Lucas, and Greggy Amarju. Very similar to what I have, but you have Jacob Carraz, the world beater out there in your corner. 732K he's got sitting there. Yeah,
looking very nice for me at the moment.
Shout out to Tamale as well. You holding Tamale. He's continuing he could end up being a season-long hold at one point. Who knows?
Well, bro, his price is going up nicely. I think it's going to be like a Purdue move for me soon. And Robert Toya as well is looking like a nice season-long hold.
Yeah, Robert Toya with that 148 last week, incredible. And obviously helps a lot of us with making that cash in our CT dubs. Cash this year has just been going around everywhere. Like it's been incredible, the cash gen this year.
100%. The only thing I'm worried about is my trades for the back end now. So I'm going to start looking to slow up.
Yeah. I could definitely look at slowing up as well. I'm right in that stage where I'm just trying to get everything right. And I think we should be pretty close to being set in stone very soon. But Cam Munster, Lockie Galvin there in the reserves. Lockie Galvin's going to be incredible for you in the bye period, more than likely, right?
Yeah, he's going to look like a nice little hold through the bye period. So I've got good cover there, and Galvin and Hines for those two starting in Cleary and Munster because they'll both be playing Origin.
Yep, Cleary and Nico Hines, obviously, set and forget there, guys. Second row forward, you got Tino, Faisal Malawi, Viliami Kikau, and also Matty Nicholson, who's been a great buy for you this season.
Yeah, he's been good, just chugging along. He's going to be great during the bye period as well, so I'm holding him now. And Dylan Egan as well, great through the bye period. So I'm pretty set there as well. Just be Tino out for Egan to start, basically, and be safe as.
Sitting with a little Nuff there. That was your Nuff play for last week, and also a guy that can help you with those moving around of pieces as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at it as, and not the fact that I burnt a trade on it, but it is what it is.
Good old Miles Martin there. Moving over to your front row pairing of Payne Haas and Terrell May. Hamish Stewart that you brought in as well with a 79 over the weekend. Cash Gen is sitting there. Well done.
Yeah. So my trades this week was Horsburgh out for Hamish Stewart and Hiroti out for Dylan Lucas. So basically, it was my move to get Dylan Lucas in off Horsburgh. That's what I had to do. So to get that money, I had to Hamish Stewart for a Horsburgh, which I'm not mad about. He's got the 79. He's sitting at, what is that, 371?
321, yeah.
321, so even cheaper. So, and he looks like he's going to cement down that starting lock forward role for the Dragons now. So his minutes and scores will go through the roof now, as we see there with that 79 from 47 minutes. So I know he bagged the try there in that Dragons game, but like even if you take that try off him, that work rate that he got through starting was really nice. And it's a nice little cheapie to get some more cash gen for me. Good through the buy period. Once that buy period's done, look to upgrade him to a big Joseph Tarpany or something like that.
Do you think that anyone that's looking for cheapies at this period now, so we're looking at, you got a Hamish Stewart, you're looking at King Tongia with the Dragons as well coming in, Hugo Savala. I don't, he cash gen yet? No, I think this is his last week.
A few times, yeah. Patea.
Yep, Patea. Which one of those guys, obviously you got Hamish Stewart now, but let's say you were in a different situation, which one of those guys would you be targeting first right now if you were going that way?
Other than Hamish Stewart?
Yep.
Other than Hamish Stewart, I would be probably looking at Dragons half if you needed a downgrade or wanted some cash during the Origin period. Trade out a Cleary or a Moses. If you've got those, no one will really have Moses. So if you wanted to trade out Cleary, I wouldn't. But if you wanted to trade out Cleary and wanted some cash, by all means, get the young Dragons half in. Oh, no, he's at 5'8". I've got to remember that. So, sorry. If you wanted to trade out a Munster and then pick him back up later on, I would rather run a cheapie like him. And then you got the other fella for Feeder that's making his debut as well for the Dragons this weekend.
Pacific Tonga, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Very, very talented. I would be waiting on him just to see how many minutes he gets off the bench, but Fleno has now looked to be pushing these young kids through, right? Like, after this period, Jack DeValin got pushed to the bench for Hamish Stewart in that 13 jersey. Dylan Egan got into that edge back rower position over Luciano Leilua, and then they do their little switch in between. There's an opportunity there for Loco to come out there, absolutely kill it, and be paired up with Toby Couchman up in the front row pairing there too. So he's very talented, but just watch out for him. He might not get early minutes just yet, so I wouldn't go on him early. But he's definitely a guy to continue to watch for future if you want to buy him in and cash out.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, probably those guys, or Hamish Stewart is probably the biggest cheapie that I'm high on at the moment. Other than that, I can't really think of too many.
No, I think they're the main ones for me too, from memory anyway. Love it. I might be thinking about Hamish Stewart then after the show, so we'll continue to think about this in the future. But Jose with a question here: are you guys holding on to Jacob Preston? Obviously, you just found out before he said, never mind, you guys don't have. But if we had Jacob Preston for the 4 weeks that he's out for with suspension, would you hold him?
It depends, like what Ty he said. It depends on your team. Depends how you're looking through the buy period. It depends if you've got the cover of 4 other guys that you can set and forget in your reserves. So it depends on all these things, but I wouldn't be disheartened trading him out, other than the fact that I think he could also land in Origin camp. And if there's any injuries in Origin 1, then he could get a call up for Origin 2. But I would hold him at this stage, brother, unless you need to make big moves to trade guys out and you need the cover. But if you've got cover and you could do without him, I'll just do without him.
So he should be back around the power of the Rabbitohs game. Obviously with the 4 weeks, there's a buy in between there, but I'm pretty sure buys don't count to your suspension. So I think it'll be the Rabbits game that he comes back. Then he goes Rabbits, Panthers, Broncos. This is later on down the track if you were looking to hold on to him, what he's what he can come back to. But with his scores that I've just seen before, he looks like a guy that you can probably hold on for a little bit if you want to just run with him over the period. The only thing that kind of worries me there is it is Origin time. If he is holding a spot, maybe you got other players that are in Origin as well. You can run yourself a little bit light in that position. Maybe we'll look at some trading him out for the period and maybe bringing him back in later. There's nothing wrong with bringing players back in later as well. Just remember that. But also there's the risk of you losing money and not being able to get back to them too.
100%, and just double trading if you didn't need to. So this is the tough decisions. That's why it's called Supercoach.
Exactly right. Exactly right. You're the coach. You're the man. You make the decisions. But guys, last couple of questions jumping into the chat. We could probably got about 5 more minutes left to just chat our heart's content. I'm still kind of just thinking out loud of what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to have that second trade to go with Corey Horsburgh, and what if I want to go Britton Nicholder. That was the guy that I was chasing this week. Obviously, Dylan Lucas is the other one. But I don't want to go too early on Britton Nicholder, so yeah, that's kind of where my head's at there.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. Unless you wanted cash gen.
Yeah.
Do you need more cash gen?
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm in that place right now where I don't think I do, but like maybe I could free up cash for future. Or maybe like, you know, I could just keep Corey Horsburgh there, and he'll be my trade out for next week.
You were going to do Horsburgh for Lucas and Purdue for Asako, weren't you, as well? You flirted with that idea.
Yeah. I did flirt with that. So we'll definitely continue to think about that. Shout out to Tahi as well in the chat. What are your thoughts on Fletcher? So I'm guessing Fletcher Sharp. Obviously, I knew this name was going to be popping up because I knew he was such a big buy-in for a lot of players this week. What's your thoughts on Fletcher Sharp, bro? Like, have you looked at him at all? Kind of just been like, hey, like I want to go that way, or probably not?
I flirted with the idea because of the run that the Knights have at the moment. Like it's an easy run, so like if they can continue on their scoring ways off the weekend, but I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how I feel about Fletcher because like he doesn't have a lot of the kicking duties. He doesn't have a lot of hand in the try assists, but he's a really good fullback that's kind of playing 5'8", and you can pick him up in the centers, which is weird. I don't know. I don't really know if he's good or not for Supercoach. For me, I'm not. I'm looking at, Lucas. I would probably look at maybe even Connor Tracy before Fletcher Sharp, just from complete base stats. Like, I like to make sure that my guys do have a good base with the chance of going the hundreds, whereas it's either all or nothing with Fletcher, kind of.
Yep. And like, you know, just saying that, like, you know, off the top, as you kind of touched on, Fletcher has the ability of, you know, obviously scoring tries in bunches due to his support play, just being in there in the right moments. He's got like the Hammer type of feel to him, right? And remember Hammer 2020, was it 2020 last year, 2024 or 2023, where he ended up, everyone was looking at him at like, I think it was about 400K, and everyone was like, I don't want to touch him, because we knew with the Cowboys, when he was with the Cowboys, what he kind of was. And then he had that big blowout season, but a lot of that came through support play and getting himself in the right position. 100%. So I feel like Fletcher has kind of dealt with that in an attacking outfit that hasn't been attacking too well.
That's bang on. That's bang on.
So, but yeah, he's got a good run. Gold Coast Titans, Parramatta Eels, Panthers, St. George. Like, they don't have a bye pretty much all the way up to round 18. So it's a gun run. It is a good run.
So for that reason, 100%. And he's still at a pretty good price. But yeah, again, depends what you want to do. Tracy's about 100K cheaper, and I think you're going to be getting roughly the same scores.
Yeah.
Probably less risk with Tracy because he gets through a lot of work out of the back end on kick returns and stuff.
I'm just about to put up kind of Tracy's scores. Because there's another guy that we were looking at, obviously, when we were talking about our trades before. But Connor Tracy, you know, 31 against the Broncos, but then again, that was just a poor game overall. 118 off the Gold Coast Titans game, 80 with the Rabbitohs game before that. He does have that other 36 with Newcastle game, but that Newcastle game, again, I'm trying to think if anything happened to him in that game. Played 80.
No, it's just a bit of an off game.
Yeah. But other than that, he's got the ability to go 100 and that, and then he'll sit around the 60 range as well. So for a guy that is about 100K cheaper, he's probably got a similar ability and plays fullback, which is more than likely a scoring position in Supercoach.
Yeah, or a big one that I was pretty high on this week just for some cash gen and the matchups they got is Selwyn Cobbo, just for now. Not a long-term hold, just for a nice little quick cash grab, because he's gone for 270s in a row. He hasn't reaped the rewards of those points yet, and he's got the Rabbits this week, and he's still in that fullback role, so he's going to get through a lot of base. If he can snag a try on top of that, we'll see 100 performance out of him.
Well, he's got, Rabbits, Dragons, and then Manly at 4, well, then a bye. So if you wanted a quick little play, you could go Selwyn Cobbo up to that bye period. And after that, if he makes Origin too, like there's a little bit of that there too. But
I don't think he will, but if he does, that's that risk as well.
Yep, 100%. And probably last question of the night, Jose. Would you risk putting the C in a nice player this week versus the Titans at McDonald Jones Stadium? Yay or nay? For me, I flirted with it. That's why I got KP as my vice captain. But as a straight captain, nay.
No, I wouldn't KP straight captain. No. Why not? Why not play the loop option for sure? Vice captain, I agree.
I'd be looking at my front row forwards before that. Just judging off this year's scoring, we've seen KP go for 50s this year, and that Knights offense that, obviously we're judging this all off of one game of that Rabbitohs game that was heavily depleted. Suncorp Stadium, which was started off as a dry track where they found their momentum. There's a lot of things that could be variables there to where they come this week. Do the Titans continue on? Do the Knights continue on that form, their attacking form, right? That's really the question. Before I start going, all right, for sure, I'm going to put a captaincy week in, week out on KP.
I think you'll be safe if you did. I don't think you'll get under 80, but why not take the chance of just vice captaining him and then just put a captain on somebody later in the week just to see how he goes? You get 2 bites at the cherry.
Yep. Is there any other captaincy options that you were thinking other than, so you had Payne Haas as vice and Papi as captain. I had Ponga as vice, Papi as captain. Nathan Cleary against the Cowboys. He fired last week. Does he fire again?
Nathan Cleary is obviously an option. We've seen, what Metcalf did to the Cowboys and how many points you guys put on as well. So the Cowboys do leak a lot of points. So there's options there. Other than that, Terrell May against Melbourne, he's going to have to be busy through the middle. So he's going to get that 80 plus. But scores for over 100, I don't really see a lot of guys this week. I really don't. So, KP is a really good option, but I would vice captain him just to be safe. Luke Metcalf, if you've got Luke Metcalf, could be an option as captain, but be careful.
That one's pushing it for me. As a Warriors fan, I'd love it, and he's been in great form. But he has showed early in the season that he still has that 30 game in him, and you don't want to be captain with that. But I see where you're coming from. That 117, and he looked like he kind of found his role.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, Scotty Drinkwater with the patchy Panthers defense. So,
a shout out to the last one here, Tahi Farnsworth as a vice captain.
I was going to do this. I like that option. I like that option as well because it's the fact that it's tonight's game. Then you've got options across the board for, vice captain loops. So I do like that shout. I actually almost thought to do that as well.
Yep. Herbie Farnsworth. He is on the right side of the field. Left side. So he's up against Will Benassini. So good little matchup there. Definitely could be an option, Tahi, if that's one of your better options. It's a good pod option too. I don't know too many people that are running that as well. And if he goes bang, you could be, obviously on the point of difference there.
Yeah, I actually think I might be changing mine as well to that, and then probably just whack my captaincy on Haas. I just got a feeling that Melbourne aren't quite there yet, and Pappy hasn't. He's going for good scores, but he's not going for the 100. So I think I might just flip mine there and do that.
Yeah, the safe option for me is that those front row forwards at the moment seem to be just the safe play because week in, week out, they're getting 80s to 100s, and it's just I'm not getting that low end of a 50 score.
No, exactly right. So I think I'm going to do that in vice captain Farnsworth and captain on Haas at this point.
I love it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to another lockout, brother. Anything more before we jet off?
Who's the Titans playing?
The Titans are playing Newcastle.
Tino is a good captain option, actually.
I think Saifidi's back. Obviously, I'm not saying that Saifidi changes anything.
Tino's a freak, and he's due another try. He got 109 just from base on the weekend. That's insane.
Yeah. So Dylan Lucas?
Nah, not yet.
Okay. All right, my bud.
Vice captain option, yes.
Greg Marshu?
Yes. Vice captain option, yes.
Ooh, okay. I see where
It's
your head's
hard.
at.
There's not a lot of captain options this week, but the vice captains where the guys you could go well, 100%. There's a few of those, but there's nobody that I'm like, this guy's going hard this week.
Yeah, yeah. And you could fall back, as you said, if you got Payne Haas and Terrell May, you could fall back to just the captain, and that's just set and forget.
Yeah. And Tino, and that's what I'm probably going to lean towards as well, just a fronty this week. After last week's massive scores, I just don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row.
No, I'm probably right there with you, to be honest. There might be some changes to our captaincy before the weekend, guys, but hope you enjoyed any of the information out there that we kind of gave to you guys. If you got any more to it, make sure you jump in the comment section and let us know what you're doing for the weekend, any changes. But hope you guys have a great weekend, super coaching, and go gangbusters. Get up that rankings and up the wires, baby.
Good luck, everybody.
Take it easy.